All right, CNT125 troubleshooting lab. We just got done in the router making a number of changes to our router with some DHCP scope things as well as some NAT things. So before I go much further, copy, run, start, save what I got. And I'm going to take this PC that I'm using right here. I'm going to plug it into port 1 over here. So I'm going to make it a VLAN 10 PC, if you will. And I'm going to, on this PC, let's do a ipconfig release. And then I'm going to do a renew so it picks up an IP from my router for this VLAN 10. And now that I made those changes, let's see what we got. Let's now do a ipconfig on it. I'm getting a 6426 and I'm getting a 64.1. So I fixed that DNS issue that we had before. So now that I've done that and I made some changes on NAT in my router, let's try to I'll open a browser here and let's go to something like Google. I can make it now. Yes. So I now know this VLAN 10 network should be up and functioning. I've located enough layer 1 to layer 2, layer 3 problems along the way to get it functioning. Good. I would also, while I'm here, do some pings and traces and make sure things are functioning. You know, maybe do a ping to www.google.com. That'll give me some kind of clue of anything else that's being blocked. I might even do a trace to some place, etc. These would be all things I would try at this layer to get things functioning. All right, let's move my PC over to VLAN 30. So I'm going to move this PC over to, I think I've been using like port 22. I think that's what I've been using. There we go. There's port 22. Now I'm going to wait a minute for that to settle. I'll do an ipconfig here and I'll do a release. And I have to wait for my link light to settle. Once it settles, then I'll do a renew and try to pick up an IP from the router. And then I'm going to do the same test. I'm going to see what I'm getting for an IP and then see if I can get out, see if my NAT is functioning, that I can get out to the internet. Come on, little port, you can do it. Alright, so I got a green blinky link light. I'll do an ipconfig renew. Hopefully I'm picking up an IP that's correct. So we'll take a peek. This is 192.26, 192.1. So again, it looks like we're okay. I'll open up my browser and I'll try to go to a place like Google. I'll try to go to a place like Hack. And oh no, what's happening? I'm not getting there. What's going on? Okay, so it looks like I might need to keep digging to see what's functioning here, what's not functioning correctly. So I know my VLAN 10 is functioning, but I'm not sure about the VLAN 30 yet. All right, so what I'll do is I'll go back to my router, There's my console right there. And let's do another show run on this. And we know our VLAN 10 seems to be functioning. So VLAN 30, again, I'm going to make sure all these are correct. Making sure it's pointing to the 192.1. Looking good. Coming down through here, VLAN 30. I see here 192.1. I see an access list applied. So I think I'm going to need to go look at that to see if that's blocking anything that I want actually functioning. So coming down through here, as I look, I see, here's my 130 access list. All right. The first line is letting DHCP, actually the first two lines are letting DHCP function. And that's permit UDP any. And those look correct. The next two lines down here, as I look, permit TCP from the 192 network, My inverse mask is correct, going anywhere through web and 443. But I don't see anything DNS related. So it's not going to resolve any names. So it looks like I need to add a line to this that will permit my DNS traffic. So access list 130 permit TCP, actually UDP, my DNS is UDP, from this network 192.168.192.0, inverse mask, going anywhere equal to DNS, which is 53. I'm going to add that, and I'm going to take a look. And it'll probably add it to the end of the access list, which is fine for what we're doing. That's fine. But there's my domain. So now that I made that change, I'll go back to my VLAN 30 PC here. Let's go back to my browser and let's try Google. Hey, that resolved that. Let's try Hack. Hey, that resolved that. So in this case, right here, I still had an access list. It wasn't for NAT, but I still had an access list that was hanging up functionality. So that is one more thing I would need to check. I would need to check this to make sure these lines are permitting or denying the correct traffic. So I'll do a copy, run, start here again, save what I got. Also remember the tip, if I'm working with access lists, I might want to copy this into like a notepad before I make changes. So I have the original. I have that as my backup. All right, so I revisited VLAN 10, I got that working. I revisited VLAN 30. Once I made that change, I got that working. So there's a whole bunch of layer 3 things that we can do to troubleshoot our network. We'll come back in the next podcast for upper layer.